Alright, good morning once again to my grade 7 science class. Today we'll be continuing with the lesson that we had, and before we're going to start, I will be giving you some few announcements first before we finally end our fourth quarter. Now, I've decided that we're left with the whole a topic about atmosphere, which I think would be the best for us to culminate the fourth quarter. If you can still remember, the last topic that we have discussed was all about the atmosphere. Now today we'll be discussing about what you call your changes in the atmosphere. For the rest, we'll be talking about some few important or what you call your global environmental issue, what you call your global warming or your climate change. Now, this is related to the lesson that we'll be having. So, we'll be ending by those topics, no? And just to give you a heads up, we're only, I think, left with 3 more topics. Now, for those who can finish the activities by this week or maybe at most by next week, your grades can be right away computed. However, for those who can't, no, you're given a completion period for you to at least finish all those activities. For science, I have nothing for you to require to pass the document or whatever that is. So wala po. All I need is for you to finish the Kuiper activities. No, so if you have the means, you have the signal, just maybe spend siguro an unlimited data connection for one day, and I think that would be enough for you to finish science or maybe even other subjects for your online activities. Now, today, no, let's dive in right away to the lesson that we have. All right, so we'll be talking about what you call the changes. It's happening. Right, for a sec. Alright, so what we're going to talk about today is what you call your changes in Earth's atmosphere. Now, in this lesson, we'll be talking about the history of how the atmosphere was formed, the different factors that affected its formation, and how do we compare this different atmosphere of different other members of the solar system, other planets just like your Venus, your Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and the rest of the planets in the solar system. All right, so let's dive in, and talk about the objectives. All right, so at the end of the lesson, you should be able to, number 1, recall what atmosphere is, recognize that the atmosphere has undergone changes throughout time, identify the different stages in the evolution of Earth's atmosphere, and relate the developments of Earth's atmosphere to its composition at each stage. Alright, so let's get to talk more about the atmosphere of the Earth. In this case, the atmospheres of different planets, let's get to compare this one. In this slide that you have, I've already highlighted and color-coded those different important terms, that we'll be encountering, which is, I think, is really very important, So each planet has different atmospheric composition. This makes sense later on that why is it that the Earth is only the planet that has living things in it, However, if you get to see a very controversial revelation in the social media lately about NASA revealing that there were some few UFOs that they have seen, So, when you talk about your UFO, that is what you call your unidentified flying object. So, more or less, when you talk about UFO, this is related to things like aliens, So, there's always a question in science if do aliens really exist or not. However, if you're going to put this one in a biblical sense, it is only Earth that the amazing God created, wherein it is habitable by Earth. When you talk about habitable, this means that it's the only place in the solar system where humans can live or other living things can live. So, yun lang po. However, when you talk about your atmosphere, your Earth, you already have discussed this one previously about its composition. It's around 71% of 79% of 71, 79, 78, around those, 70 plus percent of your nitrogen, 20 plus percent of your oxygen, and the rest will be just trace gases. However, how is it different from Venus? If you get to see that Venus is actually the second most, what do you call this one, closest planet to the sun. Now, it's really very hot. That is actually composed of what you call your carbon dioxide. Now, for humans, we don't need this carbon dioxide because this is the one that we get to exhale. So, there is what you call your carbon dioxide poisoning, no? Especially when some other people do this one and trying to, leave their children inside a car and trying to close all the windows. That later on, the oxygen content of the one inside the car is actually consumed, and all is left is your carbon dioxide. Now, if carbon dioxide is the one being breathed in, by the organism, dogs, children inside the car, there's a possibility that person or that organism can die from what you call your carbon dioxide poisoning. The same analogy goes to your Venus. When we talk about your Jupiter and Saturn, these are what you call mga planets that are actually mga gas giants. When you talk about gas giants, their atmosphere is actually made up of gas. And sadly, their gases are actually made up of poisonous gases, specifically your methane. Methane is actually the one that is being used for, actually meron silang relationship or closely related to what you call the one in your ethyl alcohol, or even the one being used for yung mga malilit na canister, for yung parang malilit na mga gasol, yung mga camping stoves. That is butane. But if you're going to talk about butane and methane, they are closely related, Methane is also a highly flammable gas. So this is not suitable. These planets are not suitable for us to live in if they're thinking, or other scientists are thinking of other planets to live. Because right now, I believe that scientists are trying to find evidences that Mars can be habitable or that Mars can support life. Alright, so let's continue. Now, the different compositions of your gases in Earth is actually being influenced by what you call your gravity. Now, most of the gases that we get to encounter are actually invisible. So, when you talk about your air right now, that is surrounding us, there are actually different particles or gases there. However, we cannot see them. We may feel them through the movement of air, which is called wind, However, hindi natin sila nakikita. That's the reason why, as I've mentioned, it's the only planet, wherein it can sustain life, because of the atmosphere is actually can be used up by the organisms for them to be able to live, so which makes actually Earth habitable for all living things. Alright, so when you talk about your Earth and go back to the history, according to the Big Bang Theory, I think if correct yung estimation ko, the whole universe actually started 13.8 billion years ago, And it is believed by the Big Bang Theory that we started with a singularity, just a very small small tiny something, na single. Then later on, expanded, and that's how the universe was formed. However, after those 13.8 billion years ago, hindi pa nabuhay yung solar system natin. It is maybe dumaan yung ilang years saka nabuo yung solar system natin, because if you get to see here in the slide, the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Meaning, nauna pang na-create yung whole universe, saka nag-develop yung solar system, which includes our planet, Earth, in that part. So, in the processes there, in the formation of the different planets, nauuna po yung nabubuo yung solid part, yung gravity, yung formation ng mga bato, and later on, yung solid part. Tapos, yung solid part na yon, una solid part pa actually talaga yan. Tapos, they say that influence of other mga celestial bodies that landed on Earth, that brought water. And the last part, which actually is a formation of your atmosphere. No? Sabi nila, nanggaling daw yun sa mga rocks, no, na may mga gases that later on nag-evaporate. Alright, let's continue. Now, if you're going to compare this one to other planets, no, the Venus has a hot atmosphere made mostly of carbon dioxide, which I mentioned already earlier, no? So let's continue some more. All right. Nasabi ko na rin ito, no? When you talk about your Jupiter and your Saturn, these are actually planets that are actually gas giants, no? Or mga Trojan planets na sinasabi nila. Because if we're going to talk about your Earth science, no, your Mercury, your Venus, your Earth, and your Mars are actually mga terrestrial planets. Meaning, sila yung merong mga tawag natin, mga mountains, mga malupa na planet, no. However, if you're going to start from your Jupiter, Saturn, and the rest going out, no, hindi sila masyadong malupa, pero puno sila ng mga gases. That's the reason why we call them your gas giants. And sadly, the gases that are actually that compose their atmosphere is actually made up of poisonous gases. Specifically, talk about your methane. So, kung niliyaban mo ata ito ng kumuha ka ng lighter at niliyaban mo dito, sunog itong buong planet nito. Only if there is the support of your oxygen. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng lumiyab or mag-start yung fire na wala namang oxygen kahit meron kang methane gas. Alright, let's go some more. And let's compare, no, the history of what happened to the gas content or atmosphere content, no, dito sa formation ng ating atmosphere. So lahat po ng gases natin is actually still influenced by a gravity. Kahit maliliit na mga particles yan, nahihila pa rin yan ng gravity because they are made up of molecules or atoms. Right? So, ito po yung nagkukos para hindi po maka-escape yung mga gases or mga particles natin or yung mga nagfo-form na ng mga different layers sa ating mga atmosphere. That's the reason why here, no, when you talk about and you're going to compare that one to other planets right now, no? Venus, medyo mataas, si Mars mataas, and you talk about your original Earth. Yung dati pa si Earth, no? Comparing to the tree here, no, si Earth yung pinakamataas. But right now you get to see, no, si Earth ngayon, no, nagbago na yung kulay dito sa legend. Is actually, sabi nila, no, yung blue na part na yan is actually carbon dioxide. So sa history ng Earth dati, carbon dioxide pa yung mga pinakamaraming what you call this one? Pinakamaraming gases before in the start of the formation of the Earth, no? However, as the years go by, no, carbon dioxide decreased and nitrogen increased and oxygen, actually the second most abundant gas in the atmosphere, is actually also the second. So from this high of carbon dioxide, how come it just nandito na lang, ang liit na lang? So anong nangyari dyan, no? Later on, explain natin anong nangyari dyan. So let's continue some more. Alright. When you talk about those different mga planets din, yung gravity ng different planets ay hindi magkakaparehas, no? If you get to see some other mga astronauts going to a space mission or space exploration, no? They get to see them that they can jump higher compared to their ability on jumping here on Earth. In Mars, no, mas mahina yung pull ng gravity kaya nakakatalon sila ng mataas. If you're going to watch the space exploration of Neil Armstrong, no, who is the first person who visited your moon or our moon, no, Luna. Ang taas ng talon nila doon because, no, these microplanets and even other planets have what you call mga weak gravity. That's the reason why kung mahina po yung pull ng gravity, no, ang tendency po, itong mga different gases sa atmosphere has the ability to escape and go to the outer space. That's the reason why, no, if you're going to the best example here is your Earth, no, sa Earth, yung moon natin, si Luna, no? Luna kasi yung pangalan ng moon natin. Wala kasi ang atmosphere, no? Kasi kung mga atmosphere yan, ang hirap pong maglanding for what you call this space exploration. If you go also to Mercury, which I think is really very impossible, is because it's the planet nearest to the sun and it's a really very hot planet, no? Malulusaw kapag pag landing mo, hindi ka pa nagla-landing doon, malulusaw ka na sa init dahil malapit siya sa sun, no? Mahina din yung gravity ni Mercury. That's the reason why, no, there's no atmosphere for Mercury and for Luna or moon of the Earth, no? Right, so wala pong atmosphere itong mga planets and microplanets na mga ito. Continue. So we have different theories, no? When you talk about the formation of the Earth's atmosphere, meron itong mga era or mga different periods that later on I will be discussing. Gases in Earth's atmosphere were originally trapped inside a solid material which later exploded and eventually became Earth. The gases were not originally part of the Earth but instead brought by comets. When you talk about your different comets, no, these are actually mga icy materials in the outer space that actually, no, icy kasi sila, galing sila sa malayo. And one example here is what you call your Helium comet, no? Yung mga ilang, I think 76 years do umiikot-ikot ito, bumabalik sa Earth, nakikita natin. So, in grade 8, we'll be talking about your mga, mga minor members of the planet, the solar system, which is one there is your comets. So, ito mga comets are actually icy bodies na sinasabi nila that when it hit Earth, no, yung ice na yung nagmelt, kaya sinasabi nila ang daming mga nahulog dati or nagland dati ng mga comet which actually brought our ocean, our water in Earth. At the same time, aside from water, no, it's also mentioned here that yung mga gases din na kasama nito are actually came from daw sa mga comets, no? So, let's try to delve in more and try to know more paano ba nagsimula itong mga different layers ng atmosphere at mga different gases na nag-exist dito sa Earth. So, if you're going to break down this different era, we have your origin, no? O yung pinakaunang nangyari, paano ba nabuhay si Earth 4.5 billion years ago? No? Sabi kasi doon, expanding of gases, no, in this previous slide that you have, no, trapped inside the solid material. However, after the origin, there is what you call chemical era or just simply meron ng chemical reaction na nangyari dito. Your microbial area or ito na yung mga cyanobacteria na mga photosynthetic na mga organism. This is related to later on yung graph na ito na sinasabi ko, no, na bakit dati yung Earth ang daming carbon dioxide, ngayon dumami yung oxygen and your nitrogen. Alright, so that's the reason why actually dito banda sila, no, nag-change. And you have your biological era. So let's talk more about your origin, no. When you talk about the origin, sabi kasi nila, kasi puro pa terrestrial dati yung Earth, no? Hindi pa masyadong nag-form yung atmosphere. Ang dami pang mga volcanoes. And these volcanoes, alam naman natin na ito yung pagsisingawan ng mga gases down, no, doon sa loob ng Earth because it's actually being influenced by what you call your heat and pressure. So, kailangan nilang sumingaw yung mga gases, yung mainit. Kaya, dito daw nangyari yung mga paglalabas ng mga gases, no? So, wala pang atmosphere dati, and volcanoes, then lumabas yung mga gases. Alright? Afterwards, ang nangyari dito, no, para yung mga gases hindi mag-escape sa outer space, na-influensyan siya ng tinatawag nating gravity. And most of the time, during those origin, no, the same with your Jupiter, puno po tayo ng methane gas, which is actually not a gas that supports life. Hindi kasi siya nakakapag-support ng life. Right? Pause muna tayo. Tingnan natin kung successful yung baka nagsasalita ako dito na mukhang ewan. Alright, so okay pa naman Alright, so keep pa naman nata. Alright, so andito po, no, methane gas yung dito sa region. So, makikita natin, no, from this formation during the start or origin of the earth, it's not that suitable for living organisms to what you call this one, to live in, is because it's all volcanic eruptions, and aside from that one, no, the gases that actually comes out from the volcanic eruptions are actually mga poisonous gases, specifically your methane gas. So let's go to the next era, which is what you call your chemical era. Because of the different gases that actually came out now, no, ang tendency is when you talk about chemistry, there are what you call na mga chemical reactions. After those mga methane gases na nangyari, no, other gases actually also exist. Example here will be your helium and your argon. So helium is actually the another version of parang magkakalapit sila sa hydrogen, no? Parang nag-fuse yung dalawang hydrogen, they become helium. And at the same time we have your argon. Argon is actually a noble gas, no? Isa din ito sa mga gases na mga sinasabi natin ginagamit natin pampailaw, no? It is related to what you call your neon. So, ito. However, no, marami pang mga transformations na nangyari aside from your methane, no? Nandun na lumabas yung carbon dioxide. However, lumabas na rin yung formation of water, no? Wherein they are separated into hydrogen and oxygen. If you can still remember the chemical yung chemical tawag nito, composition of your water is actually H2O, meaning you have two molecules of your hydrogen and one molecule of your oxygen. So during those times, as I've mentioned, during sa formation sa origin, ang daming mga comets na nakuan kasi made up of ice sila, nagmelt yung mga ice tapos naging water. However, yung water na yun nag-separate kasi H2O nga yung composition ng water. So nag-separate si hydrogen, nag-separate si oxygen. Kaya nagdagdag, no, maraming mga chemical reactions and chemical processes happening during this era wherein the existence of other gases actually formed. So in this era, no, still, because hydrogen and helium are light gases, they quickly escape into the outer space. Your lightest element is actually your hydrogen, no, which is actually a component of your water and even your helium. That's the reason why, no, if you get to experience this one during your childhood, you have your floating balloon, no, it's actually made up of your helium gas. And it's really very light that it can be able to, no, mas magaan pa siya sa atmosphere natin, kaya ang tendency niya lumilipad. This is also the same gas that whenever you get to breathe in, no, nag-change yung boses mo na parang chipmunk, yung helium yun. So, if you have the chance to buy a helium balloon, and trip mong magbago yung boses mo, pwede mong langhapin ito, tapos when you speak out, no, with the helium gas being expelled through your throat, no, nagbabago yung pitch ng boses mo. During this time, no, remaining oxygen was used to form other gases. Kaya nga sabi ko, no, ito yung mga gases na nanggaling sa tubig, nag-separate si hydrogen, meron si oxygen dito. Actually, yung oxygen is composed also of your carbon dioxide, no, which is CO2, meaning merong two molecules of your oxygen and one molecule of your carbon. Alright, let's continue. So after your chemical era, after those different chemical reactions and chemical processes, no, here comes now what you call your microbial era. Ang pinaka sikat dito na organism is what you call your cyanobacteria, is mentioned here, no? Ito si cyanobacteria. Now, cyanobacteria are actually mga what we call mga photosynthetic organism. When you talk about photosynthetic organism, these are organisms that rely on the light, no, coming especially most of the time from the sun for them to be able to feed themselves and be able to live. No? And these are organisms that are actually nasasabi nating hybrid sila ng human at saka ng plant. Anong difference kasi, no? When you talk about human, no, anong pinaka-unique na wala sa mga plants? humans are actually motile. Motile, when you talk about motile, pwede tayong mag-change location from one location to another location. We can move. Unlike for plants, no, or for plants, no, most of that time, pag dyan sila tumubo, and their movement is just more or less mga pataas. Or for vines, no, they may move, but the original source kung saan sila planted are just limited lang sila for their movement. Hindi parehas ng tao, which is actually can move all around. However, sa human naman, ang tendency natin, umaasa tayo ng pagkain sa ibang mga organism. So, we butcher cows, we butcher pigs, chicken, we plant vegetables and eat plants. So, yun yung mga kailangan natin mag-support kumuha ng ibang sources natin for us to be able to feed ourselves. However, for plants, no, though they cannot move, ang maganda sa plants, they can feed their own selves because they are photosynthetic. No, meaning photosynthetic, they undergo photosynthesis, light from the sun, no? Ito yung source ng food nila. With the light of the sun and process that one, no, they can feed themselves. If only humans can do that one also, 'di ba? Why not? Pero yun na nga po, no, when you talk about those different stuff na mga yon, ang tendency, no, you cannot get yung hybrid right now just like what you call your cyanobacteria. Sa cyanobacteria kasi, they are bacteria that they can move. At the same time, they're actually parang plants that they can feed themselves. Alright, so they are actually the ancestors of algae, mga lumot, and other modern plant life. So let's talk more about this one. With the emergence of what you call your photosynthetic organisms, oxygen accumulation rates in the atmosphere increased. And oxygen became distinguishable and carbon dioxide lessened. Alright, let's talk about this one here and relate this one to the previous ones. Alright, ito yung sinasabi kong graph. From the original Earth to the Earth now. So, original Earth has lots of carbon dioxide. But during this time, no, yung Earth now, bumaba yung carbon dioxide, which is just this blue part here. And the purple one, which is nitrogen, and your oxygen actually increased. What happened here? Aside from the cyanobacteria, no, actually nangyayari dito, aside from the light from the sun, no, during photosynthesis, kailangan din ng mga cyanobacteria ng carbon dioxide in their system. So along with the light from the sun as their energy and carbon dioxide, no, here comes what you call the formation of their food. This is actually your glucose, no? So dito nangyayari dito sa photosynthesis na to, no? Itong mga cyanobacteria, they feed on mga carbon dioxide. So nilalanghap nila yung mga carbon dioxide during those early times, during the microbial era. However, in exchange, just like our plants right now, no, they breathe in or they consume carbon dioxide. However, they exhale or naglalabas sila ng oxygen. So during those times in the microbial era, na-consume itong mga tinatawag nating mga carbon dioxide. And because this cyanobacteria in large amounts actually breathe out also what you call your mga oxygen. Kaya tumaas si oxygen dito, itong black part, compared to this one here. Itong black part dito, tumaas. It's because na-consume yung mga carbon dioxide and itong mga cyanobacteria nag-exhale or nag-expel or nagpalabas ng oxygen. Aside from this one, no, there is what you call yung mga different bacteria during those times na nag-evolve. There are actually what you call your nitrogen-fixing bacteria. To the point that also this nitrogen here increased. Kaya more or less during this time, no, this is actually the start of the microbial era until that such time pumasok siya sa isang era. So that's the reason why in this table that we have is related to this era here, no? So they breathe in, naglalanghap sila ng carbon dioxide kaya medyo naubos doon sa atmosphere at nilalabas nila oxygen. So, if you're going to ask, sir, meron na bang mga tao dito? More or less during this time, no, when you talk about science, wala pang mga tao dito siguro during those times. I'm not really very sure because Then again, no, kung ganito man ang during this earlier eras, hindi pa very suitable ang support ng life. It's only these bacteria are able to live, no, as science explains, no. But when you talk about the biblical sense, iba din yung storya doon. Alright, so andito. So let's go now to the next stage, no. Dito na nagsimula from microbial era, mga microbes. When you talk about microbes, bacteria, alright? However, nag-evolve na. Ito, mga bacteria daw, sabi nila, nag-evolve ito, naging mga different other plants. Meron tayo daw sinasabi, that is by science, na isang parang water organism, no, from the water, slowly went out from the sea, pumunta sa beach area. Problema niya, hindi maka-move. So, evolution takes place, and nagkapaa, and those ones, until evolution, because of the changing environment, organisms adapt to the changing environment, no, that they evolve into a different organism. So, nangyayari dito, no, during the biological area, mas marami ng mga tinatawag nating mga animals, no, wherein now lots of those carbon dioxide, tawag natin, no, hindi pa naman dito yung mga human, mga animal area, but animal time, but most of the time, no, nauna actually mga plants na nag-evolve, wherein, no, dumami yung oxygen content kasi yung mga plants nga naglalabas ng oxygen and nagko-consume ng mga carbon dioxide. So, accumulation of oxygen and depletion of your carbon dioxide marks this area. But oxygen produced by early organisms were absorbed by rocks, which easily rusted. Now, the rocks during those times, actually, they say that contains mga contents of mga heavy metals. That's the reason why parang nagiging kalawang sila. And because, no, being absorbed by the rock, no, ito yung sinasabi natin na during the formation of the earth, nag-absorb doon sa gitna, sa mga rocks doon. However, sabi nga nila daw, nag-explode, or during this time, no, they say this is what you call your banded iron formation, and red bedrock in early sedimentary rock proves that oxygen in this era was trapped within the rocks. This is actually the one in your in Arizona. If you get to even the Grand Canyon in Arizona seems to look like color red, no, because it's influenced that when the rock is kinda red, no, it has more or less mga oxygen content during in those rocks that we have. So if you get to see the red rock formation in Arizona, which is actually where your Grand Canyon is, no, they say that merong mga na-trap na mga oxygen in the rocks. All right, so more or less what happened here is that BIFs are mostly found in sedimentary rocks from oceans. So BIFs have occurred at least 3.5 billion years ago. More or less after 1 billion years ago from the formation of the Earth. Kasi 4.5 billion years ng Earth. Tapos itong mga formation ng mga BIF na ito are actually 3.5 billion years. So after 1 billion year, no? Tapos what happened here is that minerals actually being reacted with oxygen, which formed the red beds, no? As I mentioned earlier. So, occurred 2 billion years ago. So, dito sa biological era, after billion of years, now red bed deposits diminish, which leads to the accumulation of your oxygen in the atmosphere. So, mapapansin natin, no, from those reddish formation, medyo nag-decrease yung pagiging red nila, thinking that those oxygen that made it red actually already now escaped and formed in the atmosphere. But be mindful that those oxygen molecules are still being influenced by gravity. Kaya hindi sila basta-bastang nag-escape to the atmosphere. Alright, so you have your ozone layer formation during those times for us to be protected with the harmful rays of the sun. So, hinay-hinay na pong nag-form yung atmosphere natin, no? Because of the escaping of those mga oxygen contents and different gases from those mga na-trap doon sa mga rocks. Alright? And some more, no? As we end this one, no? Eukaryotic cells starts to develop. When you talk about eukaryotic cells, no? Ito yung may cells na mga tawag natin, na mga may distinguishable na nuclei, no? Starts to develop, which are cells with evident, kakasabi ko lang, hindi ko nabasa, meron pala ito. Alright, so just like us, no, we are actually eukaryotic, composed of eukaryotic cells. plants started to grow and photosynthesis became even more extensive, no? Which sets the current level of oxygen in the atmosphere around 20%. So, along with the process of your photosynthesis made by plants, no? They need carbon dioxide for them to be able to create their own food. That's the reason why most of the carbon dioxides in the atmosphere during the earlier times were consumed. And because of the breathing out of these plants, no, they breathe out oxygen, that naubos yung carbon dioxide at nag-increase yung oxygen content. Alright? However, let's relate this one to the present situation right now. As humans, no, increased, no, that tendency is that tinutumba natin yung mga bundok, kinakalbo natin yung mga bundok, yung mga kapatagan natin, ginagawa nating mga industrial areas na. So technology, anong ginagawa? Ano? Nagbubuga sila ng mga carbon dioxide and even carbon monoxide, which is the more harmful one compared to your carbon dioxide. Now, nag-overpopulate na rin tayo to the point na mas marami na tayo compared sa mga plants, no? So anong nangyayari dito? Parang bumabalik tayo sa era wherein nag-i-increase na naman ulit yung carbon dioxide compared sa oxygen. Sana hindi tayo humantong gano'n sa origin ng Earth, no? To the point that kasi anong nangyayari? Nagpuputol na po tayo ng maraming mga plants, trees, and whatsoever there that actually gives oxygen, that breathes out oxygen that we, human being, and even other animals are very dependent of. Kaya sana hindi tayo humantong sa ganung kalagayan. So to end up this one, no, let's try to see the key points. Alright, so ito yung mga different evolutions of Earth, stages niya, origin, chemical era, microbial era, and you have your biological era. So yung origin niya, wala pang atmosphere and gases actually being released by volcanoes how many billion years ago. So for us to check our understanding, no, so gagawin ko ito sa activities doon sa activity nyo later on for you to be able to distinguish and identify which era number 1 is, anong era si number 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so try to, if you're watching this live stream or video later on, you can pause on this area and try to identify them. Let's try to go to the check your understanding. Do you think Earth's atmosphere will still evolve in the future? Ano kaya? Pwede nating, let's put this one into the context that as science evolve and technology evolve and maybe humans get more and plants get less and most of the animals are consumed, would you think that the atmosphere may change? Do you think that yung mga nangyayari ngayon sa present times, just like your mga sinasabi natin isang global environmental issue like your climate change, will it influence the formation of your atmosphere? So those are just some few related na mga topics that are actually may influence the answer of this question. So yun na nga po, this will be the end of this lesson. I hope that I did not consume so much of your time and made this live stream boring. However, I still encourage you to please please still kahit ganito po in the trying times na medyo nahirapan tayo, kindly please still feed your brain with information that every day you get to learn something new. Though mahirap, pero kakayanin natin ito. So we're left with I think 3 more topics na before we're going to end the 4th quarter. So just be mindful that the pandemic happened during the 4th quarter and you have your 1st quarter, your 2nd quarter, and your 3rd quarter already done in terms of the grade calculations or computations. So you can do this one, I encourage you to finish the different activities that are left for you in your accounts. So without further much ado, thank you once again and good morning.